But I'm so happy that people like Misha B are now talking, that people like Alexandra Burke are talking, and even now, actually, Leona Lewis, who has been literally probably one of the biggest winners of all time on the X Factor, also explained about the racism that she received. So it was slightly different. She didn't actually mention racism that she received whilst on the show, but she talks about the racism that she received following her win from the show. So Leona Lewis is mixed race, her mum is white and her dad is black. So she had mentioned in this video that she also released that she had just bought a house. So she was celebrating, she bought a house, she was out with her dad, coming back from her record label, which was based in Fulham at the time. And she went to this boutique shop, a boutique furniture shop in Chelsea, which wasn't too far from where her manager's office was. So she went into this shop now, and she was picking up items. Her and her dad were picking up items because she was buying furniture for a brand new house. So as she was walking around the store, she said that she noticed that the owner of the store, who was a white lady, kept on like hovering around and was kind of like, you know, kept on following her to see what her and her dad were doing. So she was just like, she didn't take any notice of it. Like, she was kind of like, oh, you know, whatever. She's just doing her job and she's being extra vigilant, you know. So it could be possibly because the items are very expensive, or, you know, or not even very expensive. That's even rubbish. Maybe just thinking, oh, you know, customer service, you know, someone's in your shop, they're picking up items, customer service. Do you need any help maybe? No. Anyway, this woman was hovering around, watching Leona Lewis, watching Leona's dad as they were going around the store. So Leona was just like, there were not a lot of people because it was quite a small store, but there was enough people in the store where the woman had other things to do rather than kind of pestering them and to kind of check up on what they were doing. So anyway, Leona said that she noticed that as the woman kept on coming closer and closer to them, almost like the woman lost it, and the woman was just like, you need to put the stuff down. You need to put, you can't, if you can't touch anything, you need to put everything down. So Leona's like, okay, I'm shopping, like I need to pick up the items that I want to purchase. And the woman's like, no, you need to put the things down now, or leave the store, or get out the store. So Leona's like, I'm buying items for my house. Like, don't you want the sale? Like, I've got, like, she didn't say I've got money. Well, it's obviously like, I've got money. I'm going to buy this. Like, what is your problem? So Leona at this stage is like, everybody else is picking up things. Why can't I pick up items? Everybody else is touching things. Why can't me and my dad touch items? So Leona Lewis, I don't know what Leona Lewis's dad looks like, but she said her dad is a tall black man. And I'm assuming the woman put 2 and 2 together and made 50 because she was scared of Leona Lewis and her dad. Apparently they were a threat by being in her store. And Leona said at this stage, the customers in the store, who were all white, started actually to leave this woman's store. Like they started to go elsewhere. Like, and then so the woman was like, oh, you know, look what you've done now. You know, my customers are leaving the store because of you. And then the woman then started saying, oh, I'm going to call the police. Sound familiar?
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
So the woman's like, I'm going to call the police, get out my store, blah, 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 blah. And it then became apparent to her that this woman was actually racist and she didn't want them in her store because they were black. And everybody else, like she said, all the other customers who actually were in the store when they came in, all of them were white and they were touching things, as you do when you go shopping. Her dad walked out the store and she was kind of like, oh, what's my dad going to do? So she went out of the store with her dad. So anyway, her dad went out to go and get her CD from the car and he gave it to the store owner. So Leona at this stage was sitting in the car and she saw her dad go back in. So she's thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? Is something going to kick off? So anyway, she leaves the car now and goes into the store. And as she goes into the store, the woman's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize who you are. Bearing in mind, this is someone that has just threatened that she's going to call the police on them for doing nothing. And telling them that they need to leave her store and put down the items in her store that they were going to purchase. And she's now apologizing, saying, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize who you are, blah, 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 blah. Now, I mentioned this in my last video. There's a thing where I don't know why when some white people see black people, they automatically equate that to danger. I don't know if it's because they've had an experience. It could have been because they've had an experience where they may have had a situation with a black person and it did result in some type of harm or aggression. They may have had that, but it's not every single black person that is aggressive that you need to run away from. It's not, or maybe they didn't even encounter it. Maybe it's just a thing that they've heard of, or it's just, again, the stereotype, the things that they've heard again and again and again, or they don't necessarily mingle with many black people. I don't know, but I'm just thinking in Chelsea, and that was how this person responded. This is how this shop owner responded. And I think the saddest thing about it was that Leona didn't actually out the woman. She didn't actually say which store it was, which I think she should have done, because I don't understand why she's protecting her for. When Leona had given that explanation as to the racism that she has experienced following her win from the show, it just made me think about just a number of things that I mentioned before, and that I always think about, that black people go through all the time. And it made me think about designer stuff as well. So I feel like it's like we're good enough to buy your stuff as long as you know we've got money, but just by looking at us and by what you associate our color with, and what you believe our race to be like, then you don't want us to be touching your merchandise or your products. You think that by us picking up your products, or by black people picking up certain brands or designers or going into certain shops, it's kind of like, how dare you, like you've got the audacity to do a thing like such a thing. But it's only good enough once you have money to pay, because actually the only reason why you would be in here with touching things that are nice is because you're a thief. That's the problem, and that's where the issue of, as I mentioned in my last video, that's where the institutionalized racism comes from. That's the stereotype, that's the discrimination, and that's the oppression that we face day in and day out. And I've made this more about reality TV stars, with mentioning the Misha B, Alexandra Burke, and now Leona Lewis. And I'm just wondering all the other black people who have been on these reality TV shows, who may have experienced some type of discrimination or what. I'm waiting for people like Yawande, who was in Love Island. I'm waiting for people like Priscilla, who was also in Love Island, the most recent Love Island, with who was the police officer. I'm waiting for them to bring out, you know, the kind of experiences that they have had. And even imagine people like back in the days, Lamar. Remember Lamar, who was on Fame Academy? Imagine what he may have experienced. So I'm waiting for all of these people to come out to kind of talk about what they may have experienced, because I just think now is the time that we need to talk about it. And because we haven't spoken about it ever, and the reason why I know that these people haven't spoken about it in the past, because they knew that their career was already at a disadvantage because they were black. They do not want to do anything, or they did not want to do anything to sabotage their careers. But actually, when they now look back in hindsight, they're thinking, well, actually, I'm not probably where I wanted to be in my music career, let's say. I'm not saying that they're not successful in general, but maybe in regards to their music career, they probably didn't hit it the way, or blow the way how they should have, or how they deserved to, because of the color of their skin, etc. So I'm waiting for all of those people to potentially come out, and maybe there'll even be others that come out. I'm not just saying it's just black people, it could be mixed race people as well, like Leona Lewis. But yeah, these things have got to stop. And I always say reality shows and all of these things, they're just never in favor of black people, especially in the UK. I think in America there are more chances for black people to win things or for black people to be more successful, because they've got places like Atlanta, which is considered black Hollywood, but we don't necessarily have that in the UK. So it really is, you either make it here or you try and make it in America, and if you don't, then you just have to kind of go off on something else. But yeah, you know, it's sad. It's sad, it's heartbreaking. And if you get a chance to do so, have a look at Leona Lewis's video in detail. Have a look at Alexandra Burke's video in a bit more detail, and definitely have a look at Misha B's video. Honestly, Misha B, Alexandra Burke's video, Leona Lewis's video, I remember, but more so for Misha B, I remember just crying watching it, because you can see the pain that she has gone through. But I'm so happy, like I said at the beginning, that these women have decided to share their story. And the only way is up for them. The only way is up. Like, we're not going to be boxed anymore. We're not going to be confined into what, you know, what some of these people who are racist, what they want us to fit into. We're not going to fall into that mold. And I think if you don't talk now, then it's just long. There's no point in talking at all afterwards. I feel like now is the time, and you should use the platform when everybody is listening. When everybody is listening, it's important that you share what you've experienced. Celebrities, don't be scared. These people, yes, I know a lot of them, they are execs and whatnot, and you're probably thinking, I'm too scared to do this and I'm too scared to do that. But you don't know how many people you are helping by sharing your truth. Oh, gosh. Imagine bleach my skin so I can be something or be somebody or be successful. That is crazy. Anyway, guys, these are the sad times that we're living in. Those are the things that people were able to get away with. And people's careers have come to an end because of it. But guys, anyway, without me going on for too long, I'll see you on my next video. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, as I mentioned at the beginning, make sure you subscribe and make sure you like, comment and share my videos. Speak to you soon. Bye.